Good morning and afternoon, everyone. This is Matthew Donegan Ryan from Swapcard. Thank you so much for joining us for our webinar, Connect People at Live and Virtual Events. We're going to get started in just a moment. Before we do that, a little bit of housekeeping. If you have questions, you can ask them using the tab hand side of your screen. You'll see there's an option for questions as well as an option for chat. So please ask your questions at any time. As you ask the questions, some of them we answer during the presentation and others will answer at the end of the presentation. If we don't have time to get to everyone's questions, we will certainly follow up with you and answer them after the session is over. Also, if you have any issues with audio or video or connections, if you message your contact at Swapcard, we'll be able to help you out. Secondly, I wanted to say, if you'd like to join the online conversation, please do so. Be sure to tag Swapcard in any of your posts, as well as you can tag myself. I'm at MatthewDR, and also use the hashtag EventProfs, and we'll be following around on the with the online conversation as well. So let's get started. So the question that's come up to a lot of people is, should you switch to a virtual event? We've had a massive change in our industry recently. Almost every jurisdiction has canceled the ability to host events for the foreseeable future. Even if rules change and events can proceed, a lot of attendees are going to be concerned. And also a lot of attendees will have massive cuts to their marketing budget. And so if that happens, we'll need to be prepared for that. As Darwin says, it's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It's the one that's the most adaptable to change. So it's important that we are available to adapt. We embrace innovation. We embrace new technologies. And one of the biggest things that we can do as event professionals is to migrate our events from live in-person events to virtual online events. In a short period of time, hopefully these virtual events will shift back to in-person events, but there'll be a transition time where also a hybrid of both virtual and in-person events is necessary. So let's look at some of the benefits of a virtual event. One of the big ones is a reduction in costs. You can eliminate your venue and catering costs and the bulk of your audio-visual cost. You no longer have safety requirements that you have to think about for your event. You'll have much lower operating costs and staff costs, and online events are a lot easier to manage. You'll also be able to reach a global audience, so people who may not have been able to travel for your event can attend. And then, of course, you'll have a smaller carbon footprint as well. There's also challenges to virtual events that we need to be aware of. You have to adapt your event based on your attendees' time zone. So at a live event, if people are traveling to your event, you know that they're all going to show up for breakfast and lunch and dinner and everything in between. But if people are joining virtually and your event starts early in the morning or is in late in the evening of their local time, they're less likely to actually join at those times. People who are at home can be easily distracted by family members. I'm sure a lot of you are like me. You have your family at home with you, and sometimes your partners or your children or your pets might be distracting. So that can happen to your attendees. So it's important that you really engage them so they stay focused. When you have a virtual event, often you lower the odds that people will have a by chance meeting. How many of us have been to a conference or a trade show and you're in line to get some water or to go to the bathroom or to get some food, and you just bump into someone who happens to be a great connection for you. Those by chance meetings can be less likely at virtual events. When you meet face to face, obviously it creates a ton of trust and familiarity right away, which is harder to do online. So it's important to select a platform that addresses these challenges of virtual events and tries to make them function similar to your online events or your in-person events. When you think about your platform, you want it to replicate all of the main reasons that attendees come to your events. And those reasons are knowledge and content, it's networking and meeting other people at the event, and then, of course, business leads and developing potential business down the road. So when you're choosing the platform, we recommend you choose a web and a native platform. A web platform is a technology platform that runs on the browser of your computer or desktop or tablet or phone. And then a native platform is an app you download from one of the app stores and run it on your tablet or phone. We recommend supporting both so you get a high usage rate on all devices. It's extremely important to integrate streaming and video call integrations. If there's a video happening, people are a lot more likely to pay attention and watch than if there's no video there. Also, if you have a video for one-to-one interactions, people will develop that familiarity that you can develop in person. That can be replicated online. With any platform you choose, it's important to have great training and onboarding sessions so you become an expert at using the platform as fast as possible, and you can implement it in the most optimum way possible. And then, of course, engaging with audience response, interactions, notifications, and making sure you don't lose your audience during the event. Other things that you need to consider is you want a system that's intuitive. It's easy for your team to understand and use, and then it's got to be integrated with the other platforms that you're using to manage your event, whether that's registration or surveys or post-show follow-ups or speaker management. It's important that all the technologies communicate well together. The platform has to be scalable. A lot of you who will switch from live events to in-person events may see a vast increase in the number of your attendees, and so you need a system that's scalable that can not only host hundreds of people or thousands of people, but potentially even hundreds of thousands of people. And then, of course, a lot of our events receive the vast majority of the revenue from your sponsors and exhibitors. So we have to translate that money that you would receive for in-person events, selling booths and signage and sponsoring lunches and receptions and things like that, and allow you to monetize your virtual event as well. So let's discover your platform and see its amazing value. I'm going to walk you through some of the features of Swapcard, and then we'll show you a live demonstration of how you can use it at a virtual and a hybrid event. So when we build out an app for our clients, we concentrate on the attendee experience and the exhibitor experience. So for attendees, we want to make it really easy to find your event, whether that's a branded app, which is an app that they download from the App Store. It will have a name like your conference name app, or a website that will allow them to access all of your information online and use all of the features, whether they're on their desktop or on their phone. We also make what we call website widgets. This allows you to plug in the content that you upload to Swapcard and replicate it on your website so people can see information about your speakers, your sponsors, and your sessions before they even register for your event. Then we have a dedicated support and registration integration team. So your internal team as well as your attendees can get assistance from Swapcard at any time. So if you have any issues using the platform, if you have attendees who don't know how to log in, if you have support staff who aren't sure how to, say, create a new attendee type, our staff will be there to support you. We do have offices all over the globe, so we can support you in whatever time zone your event takes place in. For exhibitors, we build a lot of tools for them as well. One is what we call our Exhibitor Center, and this is an online portal where your exhibitors can go online and edit their own profile. They can upload their own content, their products, their services, their documents, their logo, social media links, and things like that. So it makes it really easy for them to get their appropriate content in front of your attendees. We also have a feature called Exhibitor Products. So with a lot of platforms, exhibitors can write a little bio about their company and have some external links and maybe a PDF document. With our system, each exhibitor can create an unlimited number of products within their profile. So if they have several products or services that they want to showcase to your attendees, we'll allow them to do that in a very cleanly designed way. Matchmaking has become one of the hottest topics at trade shows and conferences recently. It was traditionally at a trade show, your exhibit managers would have a booth, and their goal was to maximize the total number of attendees that would show up at their booth, and they would just create a list of all of these attendees. But what we found over time is if you just create a list of everyone who stops by your booth, you may not be meeting with the best possible people. and your staff will be interacting with potential attendees that aren't really a good buyer for your exhibitors' products and services. So by using matchmaking, you can match your highest, your most appropriate attendees with your most appropriate exhibitors. So the attendees aren't wasting time meeting with exhibitors that don't have a good product fit for them, and the exhibitors aren't meeting with attendees who are less likely to buy the products. We also offer lead capture, and so our lead capture traditionally has been used at live events where exhibitors can scan, the barcode or QR code on an attendee's badge and save that information to our application. We've migrated a lot of those features to our virtual platform as well, and so exhibitors can still capture a lot of great leads, whether you're using our virtual platform, the live platform, or a hybrid of the two. So now it's time to say hi to your new event platform. I'm going to walk you through a demonstration of our newest features. The features include things like our session streaming, our one-to-one appointments between attendees and other attendees and exhibitors, and the online product showcase for your exhibitors. For those of you who want to see our more traditional in-person features, we'd be happy to meet with you one-on-one and give you a full demonstration of the platform as well. So I'm going to show you a demonstration of this event, the Apollo Club Conference. And so this is an event that has a combination of live in-person features as well as virtual features. And any of your events can use both the live features and the virtual features. So when an attendee logs in, and this is an example of an attendee using the platform on their desktop or tablet, when they log in, there's all sorts of information that they can access. We have our various features in the center of the screen. We've got platinum partners. So these are your sponsors or exhibitors that you really want to promote inside the app. You can, of course, have general information about the event, so it's easy for your attendees to find. You can sell various, banner advertisements or column advertisements to your sponsors and exhibitors. On the left-hand side, you can edit your profile. So this is you as an attendee. So the attendee can connect their profile with any of their social media accounts. They can upload their picture, their bio, special keywords, and then we'll use that information to help match them with the appropriate attendees or exhibitors. So let's take a look at the schedule. I'm going to click on the program here. When we get to the attendee features, I'm going to talk a little bit more about our matchmaking. But one thing I wanted to point out here is not only do we match attendees to other attendees or to exhibitors, but we also match attendees to sessions. So when I tap on the sessions tab here, at the top, I've got a list of recommended sessions that the system is recommending for me to attend based on our algorithm. Again, I'll go into more details of our algorithm later, but if you have a lot of sessions, sometimes it's hard for attendees to figure out what they actually want to attend. And so we try and make that a little bit easier. Below here, we have our list of the various sessions that are coming up at this event. I can scroll through and see any sessions that are most appropriate for me. I can also use our filters to narrow down the sessions that I'm looking at. The nice thing about our app is when your event is live, the schedule here will always open to today's day and time. So attendees aren't going to have to scroll through different dates or different times to find the sessions that are most appropriate for them. So I'm going to tap on this first session here. Inside the session, I've got a lot of information I can access. I can see, of course, the title, when it starts and ends, what the capacity is for the session if it's limited. If it's a live event, I can see where the session is on the venue map, read more about it. I can see which exhibitors are sponsoring the session, so you can associate companies with sessions. I can also have sub-sessions, so within each parent session, you can have child sessions. I can see the moderators or the speakers of the sessions and learn about them. I can also see any documents that you've associated with the session. So if you want to upload the PowerPoint presentation or a worksheet or additional information, you can upload those. With a lot of online platforms, you can only upload a PDF document to a session. With Swapcard, you can not only upload a PDF, but you could also upload a PowerPoint presentation, a Word document, an Excel file. So we don't limit you on the type of documents that you can attach to sessions. I can also see all the other attendees that are joining the session. This is a feature some of our event organizers like to use. Some of them disable it. But if I start tapping on these other attendees, maybe I want to connect with one of those attendees later. On the left-hand side, I also have recommended sessions. So based on attending this session, here's some other sessions that I might find interesting. And then on the right, I can see a live discussion about the session, which I'm going to go into in more detail. Now I'm going to talk about the feature you probably most want to see, which is the live streaming of a session. So as the event organizer, you can share a live stream of the session with all of your attendees. That live stream can happen in this example, at a virtual event where your speaker is speaking in front of their laptop, just like I am right now. And so your speaker can join and give their session via the webcam on their laptop, and that will be broadcast out to all of your attendees. And then we also have this live discussion occurring on the right-hand side of the screen. This is a great way to keep your attendees engaged. As we mentioned earlier, one of the issues with virtual events is it's really easy for somebody to sign up to attend a virtual event, but it's also super easy for them to be distracted and maybe stop paying attention. So this live discussion helps keep them engaged. From here, attendees can post questions. So if an attendee has a Q&A question they want to submit, they can write that. Other attendees can then vote that question up. And so your speaker or your moderator can see that question, and if it seems like it would be a valuable question to ask the rest of the group, they can do so. If somebody's asking an inappropriate question, you can hide it, or you can block that person's question submissions from being viewed by other attendees. The speaker or the moderator could also ask poll or survey questions to the attendees, so then the attendees can answer, and the results of those polls will be available in real time. And then attendees can also write just general posts about the session, information that they want to share with other people that are either viewing the live stream, or maybe people who are at home who are not viewing the live stream. So we try and make it as easy as possible for your attendees to engage with the session. I'm going to move along from the session features and talk about the attendee connection and matchmaking features. Again, if you have more questions about any of the things we've covered so far, please ask them in the online chat or in the Q&A functionality, and we'll get to those at the end of the presentation here. So next, we're going to talk about the attendees. A lot of you have events that may have thousands and thousands of people coming, and it's really hard for an attendee to have that by chance meeting that we talked about earlier. Most event platforms, they organize attendees alphabetically. So if you have 10,000 people coming to your event, but even if you have 1,000 or 100 people coming, unless your last name starts with A or B, it's often pretty difficult for someone to find you in the attendee list. So we use artificial intelligence to match attendees to other people at the event. The way we do that is we have a series of different types of content that we use as inputs into our algorithm. The first is online registration. So when somebody registers, you can ask the attendees things like, what are the products and services that you're interested in learning more about as you come to our trade show? If it's conference, you might ask, what are the topics you really want to learn more about? You may also want to ask them, what are your areas of expertise, and what is your skill set? And these types of questions can be a fill-in-the-blank question. They can be a question, and either way, our system will be able to interpret that content, put it into our algorithm to generate these matches. Other ways we can make matches is we can look at what session somebody signs up to attend, and we look at what exhibitors they favorite, and we look at the people they connect with. And all of that adjusts the algorithm, tries to make better and better matches. So for instance, if I'm connected to Mary and Mary's connected to John, and Mary and John are both connected to, say, Jessica, it might recommend that I also connect to Jessica because we have several mutual connections. Another thing we can look at is if people have connected to their social media profiles, we can look at their public, Twitter or LinkedIn profiles and grab keywords from there to help with the matches. We can also look at the messages that attendees send to other attendees and find keywords in those messages, and that will assist with the matches. Lastly, the attendees can also edit their own kind of custom keywords, so they can add keywords to their profile that will then also influence the algorithm. For those of you who have very large events, and we have some clients with over 100,000 people at their events, We also offer the ability for you as the event organizer to create custom filters. So you could create filters by, topic or subject that someone's interested in, by their role at a company, by their company size, by their budgets, by their location, and any other information that you think would be valuable. So at this event, we've got hundreds of attendees at the top here. These are my best matches. And Steve here is my number one match. So let's take a look at Steve's profile. So I tap on his profile, I can read his bio, I can connect with media, I can read about his company, I can look for mutual connections or sessions that we're both attending. And you know what, Steve looks pretty interesting. So I want to connect with him. So from here, I can see all the times that Steve and I are both mutually available. You as the event organizer, you can choose what times people can set up meeting slots. So you could say these one-to-one meetings have to happen outside of our general session hours, but maybe they can happen during our breakout session hours if you want. If you have a trade show aspect, we could have designated kind of trade show office hours, and we could say, one-to-one meetings can happen between attendees and exhibitors at that time, but attendee to attendee meetings or attendee to speaker meetings need to happen before or after the trade show hours. So from here, I'm going to schedule a time. So I'm going to pick, let's say I'll pick 11 o'clock here. Again, this is an example of a hybrid meeting that has a virtual and an in-person component. I'm going to choose to have an online meeting. For the next 6 months, most of us are having completely on virtual meetings. So we would eliminate the option to meet in person. But maybe 6 months from now, you're going to have a virtual and a live meeting. And so we'll give people both of those options. So I'm going to send my request to Steve. He'll receive the request and hopefully he'll accept it, which he has. And so once he's accepted it, I can add other guests to the meeting. I can send him messages and I can start the call. And you're able to start these video calls early or late or on time. A lot of times at these events, you're late showing up at somebody's booth. It's the same thing with online meetings. So we let people start them early or late if they want to. When we start these video calls, we can have our one-on-one video chat with the other person, or we can add up to 8 people to any single video call. So you as the event organizer, you can allow people to keep adding additional attendees or exhibitors to their meetings. You can also create group chats, which I'll talk about in a little bit, which will give you the option to create groups based on interests. And then those people can also start their own online meetings. On the right here, this is our lead scoring. So I talked a little bit earlier about the lead retrieval that you see at traditional events where an exhibitor can scan somebody's badge. In this system, if you connect an attendee to an exhibitor, a lead exchange will happen there. The exhibitor can then rate that lead from 1 to 5 stars. They could add tags of products or services that the exhibitor might want to sell to that attendee. They can take notes about that attendee, and they can even see when and where they connected with that person. And so these are the main virtual features that I wanted to show you today. We're going to jump back to the presentation. If you'd like to see more in-depth presentation of the product, or you want to see more of our either virtual or in-person features, please let us know, and we'll be sure to follow up with you after the presentation. So let's continue. So just to summarize the different things that we can offer to the team, your event organizer team is the networking features that we discussed. This allows for AI-based matchmaking and meeting schedules between attendees. Engagement, so we make it easy for attendees to find the sessions they want to attend, view those sessions virtually, and interact with the speaker and other attendees of that sessions. We create a lot of visibility for your exhibitors and sponsors, so it's easy for them to get their message, their documents, their products on front of the attendees. And then logistics, we make it super easy for you to connect your branding to the application. We create push notifications to make sure your attendees are engaged with your content, and we send them emails automatically to get them to continue using the platform before, during, and after the event. And then, of course, statistics. We show you how people are engaging with your content, how many meetings are being set up, which users are the most active, which sponsors are getting the most visibility. So it's easy for you to find the metrics of your event. So how does this work? When you want to use Swapcard, you can create a trial account. You can create your event, upload your data, start sending out your content, and then publish your application. Once it's published, it will be available on the web and the mobile app stores, and then you can access any of the data that's become available to you based on the interaction by the attendees. So how long does setup take? We'll train your team. It usually takes about an hour. Often we'll do a registration integration to get all of your data into the app. You can also upload additional content that's not integrated with the app. Then you set up your communication plan and start marketing the platform out to your attendees. Once that's available, you send out your first email, and then we start with the online support for your attendees, and then of course the publication of the live event. We're available to assist you live during the event. So if there's any trouble that's happening, we're there to train you, your speakers, your exhibitors, or your attendees. And then we'll have a post-event meeting to make sure everything went well and figure out how we can improve things for future years. A little bit more about the content and streaming. With our system, you can integrate the live stream with any of the major video sharing technologies. YouTube Live is the most common one. Zoom, Vimeo, Facebook Live, Twitch, and other platforms can also be integrated. For the one-on-one meetings, that happens natively in the application, so you don't need to integrate any type of video broadcasting product. The audience engagement platform that I mentioned, that will be included in your app automatically. And the nice thing is if you keep your audience engaged, they're likely to be paying attention for a much longer period of time. The networking features that I mentioned, again, this is all included with every app that we build. None of the features that I've shown today have any additional costs. As we're getting a little low on time, I'm going to just kind of jump straight into the costs, and then we'll take any questions that you may have. So a little bit about costs. We charge based on the number of attendees that are attending your event. It starts at $2 an attendee, and it decreases as your volume increases. So the most you'll ever pay is $2 an attendee. All of our platform includes the web-based application. So this is the application that you can run on your desktop or your laptop or even on a mobile device. And then we also include our native Swapcard app at no additional cost. You can also pay an extra $1,490, and that will give you a dedicated branded app with your name, your company, your logo, your event that somebody can download from the App Store. That's an optional item that you can add. And then we have dedicated support that can be available to build out your event on your behalf, or to support you have a live person available either for the virtual event or an in-person event, and that's $790 a day. Those second two fees are optional fees that you can add if you like, but you don't necessarily need to add them. So now we're going to switch to to Q&A. I know we're getting low on the time, so if any of you have to leave, we'll certainly understand that. So I'm going to jump back into the presentation here. And yeah, again, type in your questions on the left. So we have quite a few questions. So we're going to take these one at a time. Let's see. So let's get started here. So here's a question. Is this what the online platform would look like in terms of the conference session? So yes, so the preview that I showed you today, that's an example of what the online platform would look like. You can customize the colors, the fonts, the pictures, the words, the terms, all of that is customizable. We can also support any language or multiple languages depending on where your event's taking place. Another question we have, were you talking about exhibitors? It did not refer to virtual events. So I'm not sure exactly when that question was asked, but yeah, you can have exhibitor profiles within the application. We didn't have quite enough time to show you a preview of what that was, but if anyone would like to see an example of a virtual exhibit booth and a virtual product showcase, please let us know, and we'll be sure to cover that as well. Here's some more questions coming in about the scoring system. Is this per event, per organizer? Can it be shared across all events? We're doing moderation for our clients. We would like to be able to mute, ban, limit interactions from attendees that break the rules. Okay, so Yeah, this is a great question. It looks like it's asking both about the attendee submissions to the audience response, as well as potentially the lead scoring. So very quick, lead scoring is just for exhibitors. So this allows your exhibitors to rate an attendee on how good of an attendee like a product fit that attendee is to the exhibitor's products or services. So that score is only available to that particular exhibitor. So if I'm at a booth, let's say I go to an event like IMIX, and I'm at the Swapcard booth, and Mary comes up to the booth, and we have a great conversation, and she's really interested in buying our platform, I would score her 5 stars. And so when I follow up with her, that score is just for me. No one else can see that. As far as the audience response, either the event organizer or your speaker or moderator can look at the submissions, can look at the questions that are coming from the attendees. When you receive these questions, yeah, you can block an attendee. So if an attendee asks an inappropriate question, you could block them or prevent them from submitting future questions, or you could just block out that particular question. We can also auto-moderate questions. So you can put in a filter where any question submitted with, like profanity or bad words, or, mentioning a competitor or something like that, those can all also be filtered out automatically if you like. So Isaiah, I hope that answered your question. We've got a question from Victoria. Can we see the virtual exhibit booth? So Victoria, I'll tell you what, let me answer all these questions, and then I'm going to jump back into the demo, and I'll show you the exhibitor booth. So we still have a lot of people on the call. So anyone who would like to see the virtual exhibit booth, stay on the call. After I get through these questions, I'll jump back in there. And it looks like Donna would also like to see that. So that's a popular question. So Donna and Victoria, I'll swap over to show the exhibitor booth in a moment. We have another question. When is this expected to be live? So everything I've shown you today is going to be available for your event. So if your event's coming up in the next few weeks, next month, the summer, all these features will be available to you. My colleague question answered some of the other questions that came in. So I'm going to skip those for now, since it looks like Kevin also asked those. And then, yeah, so it looks like those are most of the questions. So I'm going to switch over and show you a little bit more in the demo. If more questions come in, please ask them, and we'll come back to the questions. For those of you who have to drop off, we understand you're busy, so if you need to drop off, thanks for joining us, and feel free to connect with us, and we'll answer any other questions that you may have. My email is matthew@swapcard.com, or if you already have a contact at Swapcard, you can certainly ask them questions. So let's switch back over to the screen share here. One moment. All right, so my screen is being shared. We're back in the demonstration. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the exhibitor showcase within the application. So on the home page here of your event, I've got this option for exhibitors. And now it's bringing up my exhibitors. We can sort the exhibitors any way you choose. We can sort them alphabetically, by sponsorship level. We can also have recommended exhibitors, just like we have recommended sessions or recommended attendees. You can also have various filters. So if you have a lot of exhibitors, and we've done events with upwards of 4,000 exhibitors, so we can create filters that allow you to easily drill down and see the approach. Let's take a look at the Amazon booth. So in the Amazon booth, when I'm looking at the booth, I can see similar companies. So if I'm interested in Amazon, I may also be interested in Facebook or YouTube or Samsung. If you have a hybrid or a live event, we can also have an interactive map showing where on the map an exhibitor is located. So it's easy for the attendee to find them. Earlier on, I showed you how attendees can set up meetings with other attendees. We can also allow attendees to set up meetings with a particular person at an exhibit booth, or just with a company. So in this example, if I want to set up a meeting with Amazon, I can do that, and then my meeting will just be with Amazon, the company. And then the sales manager or booth manager at Amazon can assign that meeting to one of their salespeople. Of course, we can see the full description of the company, read about them, connect with their website or social media preference, see all of their contact information, and then we can also see their team members. and I could read more about any of the salespeople that are going to be there. We have documents sharing. So just like with a session, an exhibitor can upload their own documents to the app. Again, these don't have to be PDFs. They could also be PowerPoint presentation or Word doc or anything else. And you can give your exhibitors the access to upload this information to your app. So instead of you as the event organizer doing all this work, you can pass it off to the exhibitors. I can also read about their product. So if I want to learn about the iPhone, I can tap on the iPhone, and now I can see more information about this product. We could see, pictures of it, links to videos, other documentation about this particular product. If we're doing a training on a product, we can have a session or a product demo based around that product or based around that company. And then if we sell other products, we can have a link to those other products as well. So I can scroll through and see all of the products that are being showcased at the event. So hopefully that answered your question about seeing the virtual booth for the exhibitor. Let's switch back over and see if there's any additional questions. So we still have quite a few people here in the webinar. So if you have more questions, please ask them, and we'll get to those questions. And what I'm going to do, well, we have we got another question about the chat rooms. Okay, yeah, great question. So let's switch back. I'll show you the way the chat rooms work. And again, I know this was originally scheduled for 30 minutes, and we still have over 30 people on the webinar. So thank you so much for sticking around. We love to see this much interest in the product. So let's go over to the chat rooms. So basically, what we'll typically do is we'll create a chat room about any type of topic or subject matter. We could also create a chat room for each individual session. We could create a chat room for each exhibitor that you might be interested in. Then you could also create chat rooms based on attendee types or groups or cities. So for instance, a lot of our association clients, they'll create a chat room for each of their chapters. And so each chapter will have their own room where they can have a group text, kind of like how you might have a WhatsApp group. We'll create a chat room for your chapter or for people from a certain office or city. All of our clients typically create a chat room for their set of staff members. So for all your staff that are working for an event, we'll have a chat room dedicated to that group of people. For all your vendors, you might have a chat room for your catering, all your catering and food and beverage staff. You might have a chat room for all your AV staff, and it helps keep all the communication together. So you can assign people to a chat room. You can make chat rooms open so other people could join a chat room or leave a chat room. Inside a chat room, people can ask questions or polls of each other. You can also create video calls. So your chat groups can have, a very large number of members. If you start a video call within the chat room, the first 8 people to join can then participate in that video call. So hopefully that answered your question about chat rooms. Let's go back and see what other questions are coming in. We still, let me see here. Yeah, we still have over 30 people here in the webinar. So I'm going to go through some of the questions that were asked and answered by my colleague Kevin via text. I'm just going to answer them out loud. So someone asked about the slides. We will share the slides afterwards, so you can access this. We also have recorded quite a few questions about recording. So we're recording the session. So we're going to make this available for you to access after the session is over. Some more questions about the slides. Yep, we'll make all the slides available. So we have, let's see, what other questions are there? So we have a question about, can I see how many people are online right now? Can I see the profile? So for the app, you don't see which other attendees are online at that moment in time. We can set up a view so you can only see attendees who have completed their profile. So what I mean by that is, let's say you have 2,000 people register for your online conference. And as people start using Swapcard, maybe 1,000 people start using it and complete their profile and start interacting. What we can do is we can hide the 1,000 that haven't completed their profile. So only people who are actively participating are visible. And then once the additional people start using the platform, then they'll be visible to other attendees. We have a question about live streams. What interaction tools are available for the live stream polls, surveys, questions? So I think this question came before we showed the preview, but as the moderator or speaker of a session, you can ask polls of the attendees, and then you can show the results of those polls in real time. You can do the same thing with surveys. And then with Q&A, that's a submission from the attendee to the speaker or the moderator, and then other attendees can vote those polls up or down. That's built in natively into our app. We can also integrate with other polling or audience response products if you'd like. We have let's see what other questions are here. Okay, so the stream of the session, is it hosted through Swapcard, or do we need to sign up for a video service? So we are integrated with a lot of the main video services. So the streams, you would have to use one of the major streaming services to stream the session. We usually recommend YouTube Live, but you can also use Zoom, Twitch, Facebook Live, Vimeo, any video platform you want, and we'll integrate it into the broadcast. So if it's just, let's say it's YouTube Live, you would stream from YouTube. You would insert the URL into Swapcard, and then the stream will automatically show up in the session description. There's no other integration or anything you have to do as the organizer. You only have to do that for the sessions. For the one-on-one meetings, that does happen natively in the app, and there's no action needed by the speaker or the event organizer to do that. So we've got some more questions about the chat within Swapcard and the previous versions of our chat. So the new version of our chat is available on the web app as well as the native app, and it has these video features and the polling and Q&A features. Those are brand new features for us. Let's see what other questions. So we got a pricing about the hybrid event. And how this changes. So the virtual and hybrid features are included at no extra cost. So you can use those and you don't have to pay anything extra. So if you already have a Swapcard license set up for an upcoming event, you can use the virtual features for free. Also, for any new clients that are doing a virtual only event, we're offering a 30% discount if you sign up by the end of June. So sign up by the end of June, you'll get a 30% off the pricing that we discussed about earlier. Let's see, what other questions are there? We're still getting some more questions in. We have questions about parallel tracks. So yeah, for your breakout sessions, often you'll have multiple breakouts occurring at any one time. So we can show each time frame, show what sessions are happening. Attendees can choose to sign up for either one session, or you as the organizer, you can allow people to sign up for overlapping sessions. So some of our clients want to allow attendees to sign up for overlapping sessions. Some of our clients don't. So you'll be able to determine that. But we certainly can support overlapping questions. Let's see. We got a question, can we host a platform on your event website? So yes, so we have a widget that basically allows you to embed Swapcard into your website, so people can go to your website. When they click on, say, sessions or schedule or exhibitors, they'll see all the Swapcard content, but it will be hosted inside an iframe within your own website. Let's see what other questions. So I think that's most of the questions. We've got some repeat questions. We are about 15 minutes over on time here. So I'll tell you what, we're going to end the webinar now. If you have more questions, please email them into us, or you can message myself, Matthew at swapcard.com. I really appreciate all of you for joining. We still have over 30 people on the call, which is fantastic. So thank you for staying around so long, and we're excited to work with you on your events and help you migrate from digital events to either hybrid events or completely virtual events. Have a great morning or afternoon. Take care.